Okay, so good morning, a blessed day, everyone. This lecture video is intended for students taking the course Introduction to the English Language System. However, this lecture video may also benefit students who are taking the course Stylistics or any courses related to language. So today we will be talking about the English language system or the English language in general. So the English language is the most underrated blessings we have because we don't say every morning, thank you, Lord, for the blessings of language. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of language. And it is a fact that we can never figure out our lives without the capability to use language. We can never imagine without language. There will be no relationships, no marriage, no class like this. So, as language enthusiasts, we should be the first individuals on earth to appreciate the value of language. So, what is a language then? So, language is a system of arbitrary symbols used for human communication. Yes, it is a system since it has an underlying rules. You cannot just say, I, apple, want to eat. Of course, you'll say, I want to eat an apple. So there is a standardized system that we need to follow, or there is a grammar governing a language. It is a system of arbitrary symbols. Why arbitrary symbols? When you say symbols, these are the words, the sound patterns that consist a language. So for example, the symbol or the word wallet, no? The word itself is the symbol. In the physical resemblance or of the word wallet is the physical thing wallet. So for example, this is a wallet. So this is resembled by the symbol or the word wallet. So the concept behind the symbol is abstract. So it is not also necessary that the symbol or the word will automatically resemble the physical usually associated to it. For example, mouse. So the symbol or the word mouse does not necessarily resemble this kind of mouse. It can also resemble the scavenger mouse. So especially in literature, some symbols or words are used as metaphors, like the word blood. It can also resemble suffering or war. The word sky, it can resemble peace. So symbols does not again resemble or does not necessarily resembles or does not necessarily resemble the thing that it is usually associated with. So why arbitrary? No, it's not arbitrary, it's arbitrary. So why arbitrary? Because meanings associated to symbols are just conventions of the users, or it's just in agreement of the users. So for example, speakers of a certain society agreed to call a thing such as, for example, banana. So people of a certain society may agree to call that banana as apple. So from then on, everybody in the society will perceive a banana as an apple, since they are agreeing that this banana is called an apple. That is the meaning of arbitrary. So since our language was created long time ago, there is already a standard associated meaning attached to it. So as generation goes on, there will be a lot of language inventions that the new generation also agrees with its meaning. For example, the word webinar. So the word webinar is a newly coined word. It's a blending of web and seminar. So everybody can understand that it is a seminar through the web. So expect that as time goes on, there will be a lot of language inventions that will happen, especially in social media. So social media itself is a new language invention. So it's a matter of agreement between the speakers or communicators in a certain society. So I am also emphasizing here a language which is used for human communication. We are not talking about language of other forms of animals. So because this language we are talking really sets us apart from other forms of animals, because the language of other forms of animals does not have a system. They have one language disregarding of their emotions, like for the dogs. The dogs, no matter if they are hungry, angry, or excited, they just bark. For cats, for birds, the same language, disregarding of the situations they are into. Unlike us, human being, we suit our language to the situations. We suit our language to the purpose we want to convey. So for example, we want to entertain people, therefore our language should be humorous. So if we want to inform people, then our language should be formal. So humans are unique in this capability. That's why I said it is a great blessing for a human being to be able to use a language. So it is also a set of rules for generating speech or written discourse. So connecting all the symbols we have in mind, or the lexicon that we have, the vocabulary that we have, we can generate speech. So a word is a word is one or more sounds that in combination have a specific meaning assigned by a language. So again, for example, correction tape. So the word correction tape is a combination of sounds. The sound of k, k, r, r, n. So there are a lot of sounds included in just a compound word correction tape. So with a series of sounds, a word is created. And in that word, a meaning is associated. So for this instance, a correction tape, the meaning associated to it is school supply used for correcting errors in written documents. So that's why associated meaning to a certain word is very vital in communication. We must be careful with the associated meanings of some words, because some words are ambiguous depending to the context of your communication. Just like with my example minutes ago, that a mouse can also be the mouse that eats the garbages at home. So is speech. What is a speech? It is a broad term simply referring to pattern verbal behavior. So with our ability to use the language, we are able to connect one sound to another, one word to another. So one word to another, one sentence to another, and with that ability to connect one thought to another, we are already producing a speech. That's why language is very interesting, because if you go into the details, we are starting from phonics, from a very simple sound, and then to the thought of all the symbols we are connecting together, or the sentence structure we are constructing. So what we are doing in a class, or what I am doing right now, is a speech. It is a pattern verbal behavior. So language performance and competence, language competence and performance. What's the difference between the two? So you can be competent with the language, but you can also be competent without being productive. So what do you mean then by competence? It means that you have the knowledge of the language. You are very good at grammars. You know the language or the sentence patterns, the standard sentence patterns like a subject, transitive verb, and direct object. For example, I eat salad. So I is the subject, it is the verb, and salad is the direct object. So for example, also is she does the laundry. So she is the subject, does is the verb, and the laundry is the direct object. Yeah, yes, you are very good at the grammar, but when subjected to the real context of communication, mistakes or errors are really inevitable, especially if you are under pressure. So it is very common to us that even if we know the underlying rule or we know what's right, but upon practicing the language or putting the language into practice in a real context, we are mistaken. For example, instead of saying she does the laundry, you might say she do the laundry. So there is already an error in grammar, but you have the knowledge. So the only way to ace your ability, the only way to ace your ability in using the language is to keep practicing. But do not set a very high standard for yourself, because no one is really perfect. Otherwise, you will be frustrated, because even native speakers of the language themselves cannot be perfect with grammar. So our main goal here is to be efficient in communication, not necessarily perfect. So how to be efficient is simply by sending the intended message that you want to convey, or by letting your receiver of the message comprehend or understand the message or the intended message that you want to convey. So the bottom line is, as long as you are understood by your receiver, then you are already an effective communicator. But as long as also that you have the opportunity to improve or to enhance your skills in using the language, then try to wing. The only way is to keep practicing. So we all know that from the beginning of our studies in our younger years or younger age, like in primary school, in elementary, the medium of instruction is already the English language. So there is no reason for us that we are having a zero competence with the language. We have the knowledge. The only problem is we rarely practice the knowledge that we have. So keep practicing, keep talking, keep reading, and keep analyzing what you are reading in order to improve your comprehension skills, because comprehension skills is also necessary. You can read without comprehension. So although you are not speaking the language, you still have the knowledge of it. So some of us have undergone Spanish language classes. Yes, we have the idea about the masculine, the feminine, the plural, and the singular, nosotros. So like that, el, la, we have the knowledge, but only few of us can thoroughly speak the Spanish language. That's why we can be competent of that language, but we are not productive. However, if you don't know a language or you don't have any knowledge of the underlying rules of the language, therefore you cannot speak it at all. That's why since here in the Philippines, the medium of instruction is English right from the start. We are already having the higher chance of competence. So with a continuous effort to practice, then it is very possible for us to be competent at the same time productive. So talking about competence, there are two types of grammar. So the two types of grammars are the descriptive grammars and the prescriptive grammars. So what's the difference between the two? When you say descriptive, it means that it is the unconscious knowledge of grammar. So since we were born, we were exposed to people using a certain language, even our mother tongue language. So like eat banana, eat apple, take a bath. So where are you going? What's your name? So you are already exposed to that, even if you are not into formal instruction or formal education. So as you were born, our parents would try to train us how to use a language like Mama, Papa, what's your name? How old are you? So with that exposure, we already have an initial knowledge of the language, even without formal education. So upon growing up, you'll use the language in that way. So for example, when you are grown up, you already know how to structure your sentences, even without formal instruction. There are even people who were not enrolled in any institution or any educational institution, but still can speak with the use of the language because of their exposure. So if you are immersed with people using the native language or using the foreign language, then you will learn without knowing the prescriptive grammar. So just like, for example, a baby who is very exposed to a Korean movies, then there is a tendency that she will be learning a Korean language. So what's prescriptive grammar then? Prescriptive grammar is the grammar taught formally in school. It dictates what a speaker's grammar should be, and they include teaching grammars which are written to help teach a foreign language. So with our exposures, so there is a tendency that we have learned the wrong way, but in formal education, we are corrected. So, for example, your idea of the letter H, in your younger years, it's H, no? For example, H, key, alphabet. So, for example, your parents taught you that key, H, instead of saying VB, instead of saying fire of five, instead of saying five, your parents could have taught you about five. So there, through prescriptive grammar, you will learn what is right. So hopefully this subject will will help you also in terms of grammar. So we will also have more lecture videos as we go along the way. So I'll be pausing this for now. Thank you for listening.